Good morning and welcome to Zen Fits here in Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world, but then you too are at the center. I'll explain this later. The title of today's talk is The End of Moralism. The End of Moralism. Now, this is a pretty wide topic here. I got started on it this morning in a discussion with a Buddha expert on the Eightfold Path and right view. And he said he had the right view and I had the wrong view. This is a problem, hope you're familiar with the core teaching of Buddha, the Four Noble Truths. I'll just briefly go over them. I did remember to put my mic on this morning. I put a little sign up there. It says mic. Anyway, the Four Truths of Buddha, which are basically the core of Buddha's teaching, in an equation is kind of like Einstein's E equals mc squared. Or in Zen, it's anyway. If you apply the excuse me, if you apply the Four Noble Truths to your life, it's kind of like putting awakening on your food. You awaken yourself to the taste of life. You awaken yourself to the vibrancy, and it's like getting cataracts removed. Everything is clear. Everything is unobstructed. There are no impediments anywhere. Your mind is clear. Your seeing is knowing. And that's right view. So the Four Noble Truths, just to basic, the first one is the recognition that your life is suffering, and by suffering, life has a discontent, a dissatisfaction, a feeling something's missing. I could do more. I did too much. Somebody will help me do more. Somebody will help me not doing. In other words, everywhere you go, there is this feeling of being right and wrong. I wrote a piece on somebody is it possible to live without regret? I shouldn't have done that. I regret it. I'm sorry. This whole life is regretful. Life is suffering. So this suffering gets confusing because, I don't suffer. I got a lot of joy in my life. Joy, I'm happy. What do you mean I'm suffering? Suffering is confusing. And the same way, let me continue. So that's the first noble truth. And then the second one, Buddha says, there's a cessation to suffering. Really? There's a cessation of discontent, of dissatisfaction, of stress and tension. We like our stress. This is what keeps me going in the morning. I like a little agitation, a little stress. Makes me feel powerful. Get up and go. I'm going to conquer it all this time. That kind of agitates our life. I don't want to get rid of that. You see, so this whole idea, but there's a cessation to the discontent. Now, what would that be like? What would it be like to not having any discontent with it, to not having any sense that this could be better? Now, when my wife is a good cook, and when she serves me a meal, she's always experimenting. That's why she loves to. She's a creative cook. And I kind of frustrate her because while she, as a cook, can tell when you need a little more salt or it could have been this, she's always comparing. That's what good cooks do. And I don't compare. I just say, this is good. So I don't eat food thinking that it could be better, or the restaurant over there was better than this one. I just eat the food that is given. So I don't compare it, you see. But the comparing mind is a suffering mind, because the comparing mind is always saying, it could be better. I'm not going to eat this crap, or I have regret that I ate it, or whatever. So you get the comparing mind. It always creates a conflict or tension between what is and what could be, or what should be, or what might be. You see, but when the comparing mind is suspended, it's just this. There's no right or wrong. It's just this. When something is just this, it's not right or wrong, good or better. It's just this. So the cessation of suffering in this interpretation is the suspension of the comparing mind. The suspension of the comparing mind, you see. When we go to a movie, we have to suspend, as they say, disbelief in order to enjoy the movie. If you don't suspend disbelief, well, then you're critical of the movie while you are watching the movie. Oh, this movie's crap. I have a friend who comes over to watch movies, and the whole time the movie's going on, she said, well, I wouldn't do that. That's stupid. Why did she do that? I wouldn't have done that. And we have to, shh, it's just a movie, shush. She's intervening with our suspension of disbelief so we can enjoy the movie, inhabit the movie, become the movie. That way you're not aware of the movie as you're watching the movie thinking, well, how long is this movie going to last? When can I get out of here? Is it over yet? You see, that's the comparing mind. So you have to suspend disbelief or suspend the comparing mind in order to enjoy a movie or a play and life, you see. So that, in my interpretation here, the second noble truth is that it's possible for the cessation of suffering caused by the comparing mind. And then the third noble truth is, aha! The comparing mind drops off, and you are okay with whatever happens. Whatever you are served, you're okay with it. This was the discipline of the Buddhist monks in Buddha's time, where the monk, in order to eat, had to go out and beg for his food, and he had a bowl, and whatever was put in the bowl, it was okay, thank you. Put meat in there, oh, okay, thank you. Anything, you ate it, thank you. You received, everything was okay, that was given to us. So life is given to us. Who am I to compare? Say, oh, this isn't any good. I want another life. You see what I mean? So that suspension of the comparing mind is possible. And when it happens, that's the third noble truth. Aha! Now the fourth noble truth is 8 ways in which to create the conditions where the comparing mind is suspended. Or it just drops off. You see, you can't make it drop off because that's the comparing mind. You're saying, oh, I don't want this mind. I want the non-comparing mind. Well, that's comparison. So the comparing mind cannot get out of itself. But if there's the intention for the cessation of the comparing mind, then at some point in your 8-fold practice, the comparing mind will drop off. And you will be okay with your life. You have no regrets. You have no regrets, you see. My life is what it is. This is what it is. No regrets. See, even if you get cancer, this is what it is. No regrets, you see. Nobody to blame. So you see, the 4 noble truths are a recipe for happiness. And in the context of this interpretation that I'm giving you, the suspension of the comparing mind is the cessation of suffering, of discontent, which comes from comparing mind. And the Eightfold Path begins with right view. Now, others, myself, don't like this use of right view because it implies wrong view. I was just in an extended discussion about this on Facebook with a Buddha expert who had the right view, and according to him, I had the wrong view. Well, this is not this is not the Four Noble Truths. That's the comparing mind. So if you think the right view is right and other people are wrong, that's the comparing mind that creates the suffering. And we can call it moralism. That's why I said the end of moralism. Anytime you tag right and wrong, that's moral. If it's secular, it's just either or. See, so secular logic, science. There's no morality in science. When there's no right theory, there's theories. Some useful, some are not. If it works, you keep it. If it doesn't, you don't. It's not morally right or wrong. That's a religious view. Religion takes either or and makes it right or wrong, good or bad, good or evil. It puts a personal value on either or. Either or is just this or that. Tweedledum, tweedledee, you see. But it's still a comparing mind. You're still comparing either and or and choosing the right one. Choosing the best one from a pair of opposites. Either or. That's the comparing mind. Either it's a religious comparing mind or a scientific comparing mind. But it's still the comparing mind, and it still creates conflict between either or. What should I do? This or that, you see. And that's suffering. That's dissatisfaction. I'm dissatisfied with this, you see. But when you suspend a comparing mind, it doesn't mean you can't change anything. It just means that you are fundamentally okay with yourself, with who you are. Because whatever happens to you is who you are. You see, if somebody hurts you or whatever happens to you is happening to you. So you are that. You're not separate from it, so it could be different than what it is. It can't be different from what it is because you are that. You can't be different than what you are. This is a shift in viewpoint. This is a shift in the way you know who you are. See? So this is a shift from being dissatisfied with the world, in conflict, comparing the world, this or that. It shouldn't be this. It could be this. I wish it were this. Constant, whatever you get, may last for a few moments, but then could be better. I thought it was good. Now it's crap. That's the constants. That's the history of our life now. We buy something we think is good, and it turns out to be bad. Everything turns into its own opposite. That's the comparing mind doing that. No comparing mind. Everything is what it is. You're okay and the world is okay, but it can still be better. You can still be better, but you don't suffer. You don't complain. You don't worry. You don't regret. Life is what it is. That's the end of moralism. Thanks for dropping in.